And salutations to YouTube and all of you lovely watchers out there. Runa here, and your friendly neighborhood witch here. Okay, so you read the topic or the title, whatever. We're talking about false prophets and people who say they know it all and gurus and all sorts of crap. So beware of false prophets, as the title says. Now, I want to talk about this because, I came from Catholicism. Catholicism went way back in the day, but when I first got into stuff like this, especially like the in-depth left-hand path practice, I've noticed it's very easy to fall into a trap when it comes to false prophets and people telling you that they know what exactly they're doing and it's the way, not a way, not my way. It's the way, one way. No. So much no. All of the no's. A choir of people screaming no at once. So it's easy to fall back into that trap because, for one, you're coming out of a situation, because many of us come out of the Abrahamic religions coming into Satanism or the left-hand path, which is perfectly normal. I did. And, mine's complicated. There's a video on that on this channel somewhere, so if you're interested, go find it. But, I know how that feels. And it's easy to think about religion or spirituality more so as something that needs to be solidified by a preacher. I wanted to say priest and preacher are the same word. I can't talk. A priest or a preacher or a minister or a leader or of some kind, a high priest, high priestess, whatever. And these things are not necessarily bad, but when you get into the left-hand path, the thing that you need to remember is that, what I've noticed is we're all lone wolves at heart. We are all our own person. We're all individuals. This is the path. We are individuals and we do what's right for us. And when you start getting into covens or people talking about the way, it's very easy to feel like you're not doing it right, or this is what I have to do to become a Satanist. This is what I have to do to become a Luciferian. This is what I have to do to start working black magic. This is what I have to do to start doing all this. Demonolatry, whatever. Doesn't matter. Whatever. So many different things. No, it's not. It's not. Now, research can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be a damper on confidence for certain people. But the point that I'm trying to make is that your best teacher's experience and your best mentor is yourself or your higher self, your intuition. Your best guide is your intuition. If something feels right to you, that's what you do, not because somebody told you to. Now, you can go by what other people say, sure, and you can try it to see if it works for you. If it does, then that's great. That's fine. But understand that it's not the way. It is not the only way. And people that tell you that they know everything about something, or they have all the answers to your questions, and you must do something for them, or you have to follow them in some way, or pay this fee, and then I will give you the secrets to the universe because I only have them, and I'm the only one that can give them to you. Run away immediately. Backtrack. Go back the way you came. Go back to the fork in the road and go some other direction, because don't. It's not worth it. Don't let people scam you out of money or get you hurt. When I was beginning with my work with demons and really delving into the left-hand path, I met somebody on Facebook. I was at a time where I didn't have a lot of confidence in my own psychic abilities and my own astral senses. And, it's something I struggle with a little bit still, because, we're all learning still. We're all opening up. And there are certain abilities that I'm trying to really harness right now. But in recent times, I've been really getting rid of all that fear. And that's like the goal. So you want to do that. But when I didn't have any of that fear gone, when I felt like I couldn't talk to somebody or a spirit or really figure out what's going on, and you rely on somebody else. Now, sometimes you can do this. If you don't trust something, or if you want a reading on something that you don't feel comfortable reading for yourself, do that. That's fine. But make sure your reader is reputable and has your best interest at heart and will be honest with you and will not sway your reading in their favor of some kind, especially if it's very sensitive material. But I met someone that he went off the wall, and it started this whole shit. Now, there was a movement, I'm not going to call it a movement. There was going to be attempting to be a movement on Facebook of under a couple different names, and it started out as a coven for Lucifer, and it started out okay, but the structure became a hierarchy in itself, and it became controlling, and it led to the guy who started the coven essentially trying to take control, even though he will swear up and down he wasn't trying to. But you don't need someone to lead you on this path. You're the one that leads you. Don't let anybody else take that power from you. Now, the way that went, and maybe sometime I will disclose more information about that whole fiasco and maybe make a whole story time video about it or some shit. But the way that went is it led us down a path of vigorous spiritual attack. It was very dangerous. It was not a good situation. And those of us that had enough sense and knew what was going on, we needed to escape. And it was not a good situation. And I would not want any other beginners or people in any situation falling down into that trap. Because this guy was saying things like, I am Lucifer's prophet. So much as to call himself like young Lucifer, Lucifer in the flesh. It's like that is cult mentality. And it was just getting crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. And talking about the one true vessel or whatever else and all sorts of shit. Now, he was being lied to by a lot of spirits. He also had a lot of mental problems on top of that. Now, these people that do this, they have mental issues. I'm going to tell you that now. They probably do have a lot of mental issues and narcissistic problems and things that maybe make them want to control you. And if they're getting some kind of gnosis or whatever else from an actual spirit, chances are they're either lying about what they're talking about and they're not giving the spirits real message, or they're being lied to by an imposter. And that's what was happening with the guy here. And he had something nasty, very nasty. Not something I would like to deal with again. But whatever. It happens, it happens. I can deal with it. I ain't afraid. But that's the thing. This stuff gets dangerous. Don't let people tell you something or make you think that you can't speak to the divine. Whatever divine that you talk to, infernal or not. Because you can. And you should. When you get messages from spirits, it's good to back it up with other people's claims too. Like checking gnosis and things of that nature. But if you're asking for a reading on something, make sure that you're getting it from a reputable source. And also, if you can do this by yourself, you read tarot, you use pendulum, you meditate enough to where you could clear your head enough to get messages, whatever else. You should do that instead. You should pride yourself in being able to communicate with spirit on your own and be able to do this on your own. If you need guidance, then, go ahead and go get it. But don't rely on that. Rely on yourself first and foremost. is what I would give you the advice to do. And this is how a lot of people fall into that trap. False prophets, and fall into cults, and they get hurt. What inspired me to make this video is, even after so long of this being over and done with, I received a message on social media earlier from someone that was involved. And occasionally I do still receive a message from that, giving like a fuck you, or you're fucking stupid, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, from one of these people that has been off the wall and was preaching things that you would hear out of mental asylum stories and things. And your classic stories of, I drowned my baby because God told me to do it. It's crazy. I mean, this stuff can drive you to insanity, especially if you have mental issues so much as this guy did. You're easier of a target to negative things if you have mental issues. Maybe I'll make a whole video on my feelings about that. But do not abide false prophets. Do not go to one specific person for absolutely everything on a religion. Do your research, whatever it is, especially if it is the left-hand path, especially. So, as much as I like to be the guide to people, what I will do is I'll give you my take on it. And then I'll tell you to go do your homework. In the words of Black Witch S, I won't spoon feed you. I love her videos. But I think I'll link her in the description, actually. But it's up to you to find your truth and to find what you need to do for this path. And beginning can be hard, and there are many pitfalls and many traps you can fall into, but don't get to thinking that you need to follow someone's order, because you don't. What you do in this practice is no one's business but yours and the divine's. That's it. Not anyone else. And also, if someone does something different than you, don't let that discourage you if you do something differently than they do and yours works. I mean, and they say they're saying it's wrong. Like, you have to do this certain way. And then she's like, no, but I do this way and it works. Don't get discouraged. Because, people slip up sometimes and say, like, this is the only way. Even if they're not that type of a person. Because a lot of people make it a really big point to say that that's my opinion. And I try to do that myself. Because this all is my opinion on things. This is my perception. Because all of our perceptions are different. And I'm sharing this to give you my certain views, so then you can use this as a springboard along with other research to go and make your own and figure out what you believe in. What do you believe in, viewer? Don't tell me what I believe in, and don't tell me what somebody else believes in, and so therefore you believe it. No. It's dangerous. Think for yourself. Don't fall into that trap. Be careful.